There's a lot of information out there about how to run faster, how to run fast times, but it can be so confusing, so overwhelming, and you don't really ever know what to focus on. And yet that was definitely me when I first started running and first started training. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what to focus on. But when I actually found out what I needed to focus on, my running improved so much from there. So quick one about me. My name is Patrick Martin, and in April this year I ran the London Marathon in 2 hours, 24 minutes and 31 seconds. I was 42 years old at the time, and I'd only been running for 3.5 years. You can check out my training on Strava. At the moment I'm running 200 plus kilometre weeks, back in training for the London Marathon again in April and some other races between now and then. So in my last video I talked about consistency, and when I focus on consistency and the power of consistency in running, everything changed in running for me. And you can check out the video here, I've linked to it. So now I want to talk about how and why that consistency took me to another level and allowed me to unlock the potential that I had, and how I'm sure that you guys can do the same. I like to compare runners to F1 cars. And F1 cars, they spend millions developing aerodynamic systems to make the car faster, but then they don't just go and throw any old engine into the car. They spend millions on that as well, and they develop these incredible engines, because if they just had great aerodynamics and the engine was just rubbish, that the whole package would be rubbish and they'd have a slow, unreliable car. So for me as a runner, I want to build my engine up. I want to build the best possible engine I can. And I do that by running lots of consistent mileage and being consistent over time. And then I build a reliable, strong foundation and an aerobic base that's absolutely huge, wide and deep, that allows me then to run fast when I need to, or run slow when I need to, pick up the pace when I need to. But it's just this huge foundation of running fitness that serves you so well and makes you faster over time and allows you to realise your own running potential, because you've been consistent and built up that fitness. And when I ran a 2:24 marathon, I did very little speed work in the months leading up to that. I did a lot of consistent, slower to steady pace mileage, and that really built my base of fitness, just like building up a strong engine. Over time, because I was so consistent, I built up that base. I made a mistake when I first started running, and I think it's what quite common amongst runners, is to focus on everything else. I focused on the aerodynamics. I didn't focus on the engine. Doing big workouts every now and again, buying the right shoes, buying the right watch, making sure you've got the right clothes for running, and all that doesn't move the needle as much as just building up a big aerobic base by being consistent and consistently running as much as possible, whatever that pace is. I remember when I first started racing, and I'd line up on the start line of some of these races, and I'd look at the guys like around me, and it'd be quite intimidating because a lot of them would have all the gear, the shoes, they look the part, they look muscular, they look strong, and then the race would start, and I most of the time finished way ahead of them, and it really surprised me. And then I looked after the races. I'd go and look at some of their Strava profiles, and I realised that they just weren't being consistent. They hadn't built up these consistent aerobic bases that would make them faster. They'd focused on the aerodynamic side of things rather than the actual being consistent and actually becoming a much better runner by being consistent over time. Being consistent like this does take mental discipline and it takes time. And I think the main thing that you have to be aware of when doing this is that you need to enjoy it. And the way I do that is just by running how I feel on most days. I've said in my previous videos, if I feel like running fast, I run fast. If I feel like running slow, I run slow. And I just be consistent in that way, and that motivates me a lot more. If I find that if I have to run a certain pace on a certain day, I find it like it's a chore and it's not motivating. But if I know that I can run how I feel in a more natural way, over time, in the long term, because I'll be more consistent because of that, I'll just build up my fitness quicker. I'm not a professional runner, and you're probably not either. And we don't have the time to optimize everything around our running. We need to focus on the things that give us the best return, and that for us is consistency, and consistency over time. The great thing about this approach is it doesn't take a lot of mental energy, and it is simple, and you just need to focus on being consistent over time. In the long term, you'll see your improvement. Unlocking your running potential in this way is long term, because endurance adaptations happen over time, and because consistency is so important, we need to make our running training something that does fit in around our lives. Something that's really common amongst runners is having like a blast of motivation for a few weeks, really going for it, really like going for workouts, big workouts, and really putting in loads of training. But then after a while, they just get burnt out because they realise they've just been doing too much and it doesn't fit in with their lives, and they end up completely stopping for a while. And the person that's consistent over time just overtakes them because they're consistently putting in the mileage, consistently running, and their fitness is getting better over time, and they're building a really big base. So it's important to make the running that you do enjoyable and something that actually fits in with your life and works with your life, and that is sustainable around your life, and that you do want to do, and you know that you'll keep it up because it's actually realistic. And realistic running in a natural way that naturally fits in with your life will make your fitness improve, and you'll start to realise your potential in running. And then of course, when I've built up my aerobic base and my fitness, when I get nearer to goal races, then I will add in some more speed work, more race specific work. But I know that I've built up a huge base of fitness for that, and I know that it has given me the best possible chance of running a PB, fast times, and seeing dramatic improvements. So that's how you unlock your running potential. Stay consistent over time and you'll see the improvements. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and keep running.